did our final report and our campaign on the Cal State Fullerton IT department. My name's Angelica. I was the art director.
My name is Sade. I was the social media coordinator.
My name is Lauren. I was the copyright editor.
I'm Samantha, and I was the account executive.
Who is Cal State Fullerton IT? So they're an on-campus information technology group. They provide services to enhance classroom performance, and it's available to staff, students, and faculty. What does IT offer? They offer services which include your Titan card, your campus email, laptop checkout, and they also provide services which is Dropbox, 50 gigabytes of it, hey, Adobe Creative Cloud, and Office 365. This is IT's current brand communication. As you can see, they're very traditional. This is right when you get off the elevator in Langsdorff. Over here is their office, and so they have all of their advertisements lining the walls on the way to their office. And here's Samantha with target audience.
So our target audience was basically the entire university, students and faculty. We also had some staff intermingled in there because all of them are beneficiaries of IT services, and there was just so many people not utilizing the services. We found that only 5% of students and faculty actually utilized the free software, which is what we were initially contacted for. And we also found that after they added all of the services that they wanted us to do, that it's just about the same amount of people utilizing these services from IT. And these are some pictures of the things that they actually do on campus to try to get promotion out and tell people about the services that we have for the IT department. So they have STS, which is just for students, and just IT right here for everybody, I guess. And now Lauren will go ahead and go through the SWOT analysis.
So the SWOT is the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the IT department. They have an established reputation, and they're recognized in the community. They are involved on campus events. They have a booth, or they try to get a booth at every event, every college. Com Week they were there for Com Week. They use social media, which is good for them. Weakness, Cal State Fullerton community is not engaged. They want a two-way communication, but they don't have that right now, and that's what they want. Students and faculty are not fully aware of the services. They are aware of some of them, but not all of the services offered. Opportunities are alternative communication methods, which we'll talk about later. Same as using the research results that we have from the survey we conducted to educate people on the services. The threats are time. After everything, we only had about 8 weeks to do a survey and complete our campaign. Social media engagement, they have social media, but they're not engaged. They're not getting that two-way communication like they want, and their following isn't very big. Last, there was no clear focus. There were so many good ideas within the IT department. It was hard to pinpoint which they wanted us to follow. So ultimately, we chose a survey, which we'll talk about later. Next is Sade with goals and objectives.
Thank you. Based on our situation analysis, we came up with a bit of goals and objectives. We came up with, our goal was to understand communication preferences with our audience, understand why the services weren't being utilized, and to build a two-way communication between the IT department and students and faculty. Our three main strategies were to build brand awareness and brand consideration, as well as research. One of our tactics, actually I did as the social media coordinator, I did meet with Rocky Mystery. She's the IT consultant. She is located, her desk is located at the Student Genius Corner, which is in the library on the first floor on the right side. What I did with her, I met with her, I let her know that I wanted to check out the analysis of the Facebook and Twitter, just to get a clear idea on how students are engaging, what are the most popular posts, how many likes, and what are the most optimal times to post on the social media. And now, Lauren.
Tactic number 2, we met with John Hickok in the library. He's the faculty library and instructor. Here he helped us with research because our campaign was so research heavy. He helped us with research and gave us tips and tricks to get all the information we needed for the campaign. Here's Samantha with tactic number 3.
So this is our survey. This is actually the copy of it. And it's only 5 questions, which we asked 321 students and faculty on Irvine campus and main campus, which took about 5 hours between all 4 of us. Evan O came, and we had a few other from, oh, yes, you came, thank you. Yeah, a few others from the class. I remember you. That's why I was staring at her like I know her. But anyway, and we got 321 responses. Some of them on each question were varying because some people skipped questions, some people just didn't want to take this. Yeah. And these are just some of the pictures of us actually doing it. The top one is cutting them up. There's us being beautiful and everything.
Eyes closed.
Yeah. We had student clothes, and we used one of the tools here that Angelica's going to explain.
Okay, so for tools and resources, on the client side we have Asana, which is really great because that allowed us to have a point of contact between the client and us, which is really important because you need to have that communication and just like one single point. Another thing from the client side was the software infographic. This infographic allowed us to see the software downloads for the last 2 years, which was really important for us because it allowed us to narrow and harness our research focus. Another resource from the client was Rocky, like Sade mentioned, and she's the social media IT consultant. And this was a really insightful experience for us, as well as meeting with John Hickok that Lauren mentioned earlier, which he really gave us some really good tips on researching. And like Sam just mentioned, we had student and staff volunteers, so thank you so much. That really increased the quantity and the quality of getting those surveys on both campuses, so thank you. And some tools that were used were SurveyMonkey, which of course we use to conduct the surveys, as well as analyzing the data, as well as using other Microsoft applications, Excel, PowerPoint, to really tell the story and put it all together into charts. So for timeline, February was crucial because that was when we had our first introductions with the client. And that within those initial meetings, we were able to see, okay, this is their structure and what their mindset was for this short campaign. As well as another important factor is we were really research driven this month, because when we got to March for our campaign proposal, we really needed to suggest something to the client that we could all align on. When we sent the client the campaign proposal, we asked them for feedback as well as alignment on 1 to 2 goals to really focus our energy on within the short amount of weeks. Unfortunately, because we did have Asana, which was an amazing resource, but because she can't make decisions on her own and the client has a huge team, we weren't able to really decipher on which one we could really go with. So we went through Evan and Swanson who suggested the in-person surveys, which we did 1 week before spring break. In April, we really just focused on analyzing data, compiling the responses, and really figuring out, okay, well, what is this telling us and what can we recommend to the client? So when we got to May, we were able to present results and recommendations that we gathered from the data in April. So campaign results. One of the main things that was really beneficial to the client and us is that we provided the IT department with free advertising. For example, when we were doing the in-person surveys, a lot of the times the students that were like, no, I have no idea what this department does or offers, we were like, okay, well, this is what they offer, this is how you get to Titanium, or you can get to the downloads, or they're located in the library for a free PC tune-up. So this was really awesome because a lot of the times students were telling us we have no idea who this client is, so this was a really good way to spark a two-way communication as we were doing those in-person surveys. Another thing that was insightful from the survey was that we found out that email was the preferred method of communication, followed by social media and mobile. As well as we figured out that students, you guys like to communicate more than one method of communication. So, for example, social media and mobile, or email and mobile, which is great for the client to know because then they know they can reach all demographics in different communication platforms. So our last discovery is that we can put it into an equation. More time on campus equals more knowledge of the CSUF IT department, which is true because, like Lauren mentioned earlier, since their advertising is so traditional, like print and out of home, unless you're on campus 24/7 or you live around campus, you're not really going to see what they're offering or who the brand is. So, for example, like me, I commute like 30 plus miles, and I only found out because I heard of word of mouth, which we would like to see since the campaign results didn't show us, but we are interested to see how the software downloads and the services were influenced after the in-person surveys. So like I mentioned, email was the #1 voted communication resource, and we found that the free software, printing, scanning, and copying, and Titan Card was the 3 that students are most aware of. Now, Sam will take us through services.
So these are out of everybody that we surveyed, these were the main services that people knew of. So we have Titan Apps, free software, Titan Card, printing, scanning, and copying. And we hypothesized that people usually knew about these things because you actually use them on a daily basis. You need to print. You use your Titan Card, obviously, most of us are graduating. You used it like at least 20 times just to get your graduation stuff. And free software, a lot of people were told by their professors that they needed it in class. And Titan Apps, of course, you use Titanium every day, you use Moodle, which is Titanium, and you use your portal and everything like that. So our qualitative research was basically the survey and all the responses, and it was difficult at first to compile all of the responses because they were all open-ended questions, except for the first one. And so we found that talking with people and convincing them that they knew about Titan Card was a little bit more difficult than it could have been if they were all just yes or no questions, which brought us to our quantitative research, which we kind of put the qualitative into the quantitative to make it quantitative, so that we knew exactly who liked what and who knew of what. So if you liked email, like Angelica said, we knew that you really knew about Titan Card and you knew about free software. But if you liked mobile or cell phones, maybe you knew about something else. And so we have actually 50 pages in our book just of charts to cover every single base that we possibly could with all the data that we collected. And so we found that this is definitely a reasonable, those 50 charts are reasonable. And I know looking at them at first probably wasn't very reasonable, but it is reasonable because we wanted them to know exactly who they're reaching and why they're reaching out to them. There's just so many people on campus, and although the 321 doesn't really constitute for the 46,000, this definitely gives them a good head start into it, and it was just a great way for us to recommend things.
So for our suggestions for next semester, if they choose to come back, is a social media campaign and email blast, as well as including incentives. Through the survey responses, we figured out that the top 3 sources of communication is social media, mobile, and email. But the one thing that they're lacking, and how Sam showed us earlier, they had booths, so they are visible around campus. But the one thing that they don't have is they're not offering you guys prizes, money. If I see an email blast with a subject line that says free food if you take this survey, then okay, I'm gonna click on that. Or if I see a social media post, what's gonna differentiate that from other brands? It's gonna be an incentive. So that's something that we really recommend they do through all sources of their communication. Thank you, and we'll now open the floor for questions and comments.